20 minutes after 1 p.m. Sunny afternoon with a little bit of cool weather, just still in the 80s here. And I'm sitting by my new garden. I have moved. Let's see what we can do here. Here we go. It's a community garden. See there? And I'm now living in public housing. That is the housing behind me. And uh, we're, it's a wonderful place on Berry Road in Norman, Oklahoma. It was built in 1982, and the apartment looks brand new. The facilities are kept immaculate. Um, I've talked a lot to residents here. Yeah, what I'm saying is true. Uh, this is the kind of housing we can have for everyone if we occupy the NEED Act and get free money. Yeah, money costs nothing to create. It costs nothing. And right now, the bankers create all our money and charge us for it. And it gives the power of the bankers to decide who gets money and how much they get. That is completely unnecessary. Let me come back to me. There I am. Yeah, completely unnecessary. In fact, in our Constitution, the power to create money is given to Congress, not to the bankers. But in 1778, Hamilton and George Washington got together and they got the power to create money delegated to their friends who became our first bankers. And George Washington, out of that deal, became the richest man in the country. He sold out our country. The man is a traitor. I know you probably don't like to hear that, but uh, uh, the Revolutionary War was fought because the English wanted us to adopt their banking system, their money creation system, and we said no because we didn't do that in the colonies. We had no banks. There were no banks in the colonies. We created our own money, the Continentals. The colonies created their own money, not some private deal. So, and that's what we wanted to keep. Got it written in the Constitution, and then uh, Hamilton and Washington got it delegated to their friends, who became our first bankers. And that isn't even the end of that story. The, they uh, these men that became our first bankers knew that Congress was gonna buy all the Continentals and the debt certificates of the colonies back for 100% face value. They went out in the colonies and bought these debt certificates and Continentals for pennies on the dollar and brought them back to Congress, and Congress bought them and uh, and and then they used that money that they got illicitly to capitalize the first bank of the United States. Our banking system was born in fraud and it continues in fraud. Please think about this uh, the fraud that's been pulled on us for all these years that the country's created. And the bankers create the money. And remember this whoever creates the money creates and maintains the culture we live in. Do you like the culture we live in? I guess if you got a really good job and Everybody's patted you on the back, how proud they are of you at the sports that you've done and all that stuff. You probably like how things are, but believe me, there's a lot of us that don't like what the things are. There's a lot of us that have adopted out of, checked out of the system. Except we take our Social Security checks every month. Thank God they're sending them to us, and Biden needs to increase them by a couple of $100. We'd take that in a heartbeat, and or more. In fact, we could have a guaranteed annual income of $50,000 a year if we adopt the NEAT Act. Just think what that would do to free you up, uh, free you from your job. You could minimize the time that you need to spend in your job. That's the approach to take, not the socialist approach, which is to take over the management of the job, but just take over the amount of time you have to spend in a job, and you can do that with the NEAT Act. It's pretty simple. Money, the concept, the use, the creation of money is really, really simple. People like to make it complicated, and believe me, anybody that wants to make things complicated, wonder about them. Okay. Um, okay. Well, I think I will get close to ending my broadcast here. The NEAT Act is HR 2990 of the 112th Congress by former Congressman Dennis Kucinich of Cleveland, Ohio, who fought banks from the time he became a 21-year-old mayor of Cleveland and beat them. And this is his final act in Congress to beat the bankers completely and make honest men out of them. They'll still be able to make loans, but they're going to have money to make the loans, not the money, not created money. So we will have a Federal Reserve System, but it'll be in the Treasury. Okay, the NEAT Act does three things. It nationalizes the Federal Reserve and puts it in the Treasury where we think it is now, which it's not. It's owned almost 50% by Chase Manhattan Bank. Yeah. Uh, JP Morgan Chase owns almost 50% of the stock in the Federal Reserve. And whenever the Federal Reserve gets to making a critical decision, somebody is assigned to go over to the telephone and call the family. Is that what you want? After nationalizing the Federal Reserve, we're going to, second thing that NEAT Act does is, ends fractional reserve banking, ends the reserve requirements. Uh, in fact, it never has been required because when a loan is made, the reserve is created at the same time. Maybe not in that bank, but it's created in another bank. And if the bank needs reserves that night, they can go borrow them because they're there. And actually, in some of the COVID legislation, the reserve requirement has been completely eliminated. Uh, any pretense of being a reserve requirement is no longer there. And then what Congress does is spend money into the economy. That's how we will get money into the economy because we have to have money in the economy or we don't survive as an economy. So we can do that by a guaranteed annual income, infrastructure, education, transportation, uh, and housing and healthcare. We can pay for all of that with money that's created for free. Okay. Um, okay. Now, all you hippies and you slackers, you get people that don't want to take part in the system, retirees that checked out early as they could, like I did at 62. Let's start educating ourselves about this. In fact, what I'm planning is I'm going to do uh, rock concerts, hip hop concerts in Andrews Park in Norman, Oklahoma, every Saturday beginning next spring, uh, to get people together to uh, have a good time and talk about and learn about what can be done to make our lives so much better, create a new culture that doesn't depend on war, doesn't depend on lying to people and patting them on the back for their sports accomplishments and all that crap, uh, and their good deeds in society. Actually, the good deeds in society actually harm us from getting what we need. They put it off. It's what W. Edwards Deming called tampering. We're tampering, and therefore we're not doing the job that we need to do. W. Edwards Deming is the American man who taught the Japanese how to build good quality cars. Okay, I'll close now, and I will be back soon. I want to see you. Leave me comments. Check the dialogue that goes along with this video in Facebook and in YouTube, and I'll give you all the links that you need. And if you look at YouTube, my YouTube page, uh, you'll already see all the links that you need from previous videos. Bye now. Love you.